All right, today in this video, we're going to be quickly taking a look at the 11.25 PTR. Blizzard has made some updates to the cooldown tracking, which is a system that they implemented back in the 11.1.5 patch during Nightfall. Now, there was a lot of kind of flack, or I guess feedback that was given to Blizzard, that there's obviously a lot of missing issues, or a lot of glaring issues from being able to customize which buffs are being tracked and which ones aren't, to customizability, I guess. So I wanted to jump on the 11.2.5 PTR because Blizzard has been making updates, and with Midnight coming, there's going to be additional updates like an in-game damage meter, nameplate customization, all of that fun stuff. But in this video specifically, we're just going to take a quick look at Blizzard's improved gameplay enhancements with the cooldown manager, because now you have not only edit mode, but advanced cooldown settings, which will open up this little menu here, which is super, super cool. So the way that this ends up working is it's like a drag and drop type system. So it's breaking it down into your essential cooldowns. So this is a bar in itself. Then you have your utility cooldowns, which is also a bar in itself. And then you have icons that are not displayed. Now, funny enough, ZenMed is still in here, despite not being an existing talent anymore. But basically, it's going to include everything from PvP talents to just regular talents to just core rotational abilities. Now, what's really nice about this is, like, let's say I don't want to track Touch of Death. I can drag it down to being not displayed, and it's going to disappear from my main bar. And I can also reposition this in different spots by kind of dragging and dropping and using this type of system order. So in this video, I've already kind of set up, basically, here's my rotational buttons, here's my defensive buttons. I also have Cheebers, which is like pseudo rotational. And then I have all my major cooldowns as well as Touch of Death on the bottom bar. Now, the way that you end up editing the bars is in the edit mode. So if we come in here, you can then actually edit this. This is already in game. You can already edit this by increasing the icon size, the padding, and of course the opacity, and the direction that they are being displayed in. You can also increase the columns or rows, or I guess you're really just affecting the columns. But this way you're able to kind of adjust it to fit however many abilities you are tracking. Now, the one big complaint that I have is maybe I would like them to add an additional bar, but then the problem with that is that you're essentially then just making action bars anyways. But I like that they do this. You can also enable or disable timers and tooltips. So in this case, I want to disable tooltips so when I accidentally hover over an ability, because when I'm in combat, it's not going to like show the tooltip on my screen. Because if we had this enabled and then we close out of this, unless my game crashes, which it might be doing, oops. When you hover over it, it'll be showing the tooltip in the bottom corner, which I just don't really care to have. Now, beyond just being able to drag and drop different abilities, there's also the buff category. Now, what's interesting about this is it's categorizing it as this tiny little buff bar that you can change the size of, but you can also drag things to be progression bars, which I think is a really nice feature. And this was my major concern because there are certain things that you want to know the uptime of. For example, Invoke Nizao is one of them. He, at default, starts as just a tracked buff, but you can actually drag it down here to track Dampen Harm. Also, if you want to know what Rushing Jade Wind, the progression bar looks like there, you can also drag that into the tracked bars. Let's say you don't care about the Weapons of Order uptime. You can actually then remove this into being not displayed, or you can just make this a regular buff. So if we apply these changes, now when I hit Rushing Jade Wind, you're going to see this as a progression bar, and now you can drag and drop this kind of wherever you'd like to in your UI by just moving this around. So if you want to move it to be in a more centralized location, you can do that, and you can have them just show the icon only, the name only, or the icon and the name. You can, of course, reduce the opacity, but we could like drag that, I don't know, just like over here in a nice little spot right above our nameplate and hit save. So now when we pop Fortifying Brew, it's being displayed here. When we do Rushing Jade Wind, oh, I guess that's how it's being displayed. It's just static positions. And so I can actually have all of these going at the same time. And with the Rushing Jade progression bar, I now know that I want to refresh this before it expires. So I think this is a very big step in the right direction from Blizzard. Obviously, there's things that we still want to have access to. The buff tracking is a little weird. It basically won't show your buffs unless it's active. So as I flip between different stratagems, it's going to show different abilities. It's going to kind of flap back and forth between these positions. Blackout combos way off to the right. Now, of course, you can alleviate this by just like categorizing it almost. So if you come back into the, whatchamacallit, the editor. Oops. They need to make an easier way to actually access this. Maybe there's like a script macro or something you can find, or someone has. But you can like drag this into the order you want that's being displayed and show it like this maybe. I don't know if it's just you maybe don't want to track Counter-Strike because it procs so often. Personally, same with Shuffle. Like Shuffle's an ability, like unless you're dying to not having Shuffle active when you're starting a pull, you probably don't need to track it either. So we'll apply some changes here. And now the way that the buffs show up should be a little bit more precise. So when I pop Celestial Brood, it'll be kind of in actually the middle of my screen. And yeah, we're kind of good to go. I'm sure if I actually sit down and figure it out, I'm sure there's some buffs and stuff that are missing that you might actually want to be tracking. Maybe like Elusive Brawler. It could be something that you want to track, especially in scenarios where you're able to dodge certain tank busters. Knowing how many Elusive Brawler stacks you have is pretty good. They also don't show... There's not like a good way to show Vitality, which is kind of problematic. So there's, I guess, maybe here. But this is just... Yeah, this is probably not what I'm thinking of. So it is showing that it's being displayed, but it's not showing me like the amount or like this icon. This icon's pretty important because it changes based on how much you have filled up, how much vitality out of your total max health that you have available. So this is kind of like something that I'd probably like to see being tracked in some type of way in the future. But for now, I think these are really, really good improvements that Blizzard is making to this system, because this is the step in the right direction for removing weak orders from the game. And I'm excited to be able to use this on live servers. Anyways, let me know your guys' thoughts down below. I wanted to just do a quick video update on this thing because this is something that really interests me. And there's a lot of concern, I think, from the community about Blizzard being able to deliver on these in-game functions that are supposed to remove add-ons. So let me know what you think down below. Let me know if you've ended up testing it, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.